Hey guys, it's Avenger, welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking the Microprose B17 up for a little jaunt up across San Diego. It's a beautiful day with white puffy clouds up in the sky. We're going to enjoy a little bit of warbird wandering just because it seems like a good time to do it. And I want to take this opportunity to go over the updates. We've had 2 updates to this aircraft now. And I feel like it's about time to talk to them about them because I figured one update, find their feet, fix some bugs. Second update, we'll get some features. We'll get into it once we get going. Now, this is Beaver Fever, one of the included liveries. They have some other ones, third-party ones. I did not want to run those third-party liveries because it's about updates and features on the aircraft, so that's important. There we go. So nose art on it. Now, they've made some changes to the external model and things so far, and whilst it has got some changes, it still does not carry most of the 24 features that we'd expect by this point. Bus, don't you dare. So nothing clickable, draggable, etc, etc. Getting in still is very much a case of Shift C. Now one thing we are going to do is just going to pop. That's irrelevant to do really, but hey. Now you'll notice the interior here is a lot darker. And they've not actually... The thing is, they talked about making this less visible. And they said they'd done it in one of the patches before release. They haven't. It's still super visible. But they've made the interior darker. The ambient occlusion in here is really dark now. And it's shadowing, because look at how it moves with the light. And when you're not quite there, it still looks quite bright. It's darker, but that lettering is still extremely bright. And I'm going to be honest, entirely unrealistic. I've never seen this in a B-17. I've never seen it. Even in photographs from wartime ones. Even photographs from ones being produced in the factory. Now, yeah, from this weird ambient occlusion line, it looks harder to see, but as you can see, it's still very much there. In that bright red. Which just looks weird, if I'm honest. All over the surfacing. I don't know where they got this idea from, but this is wrong. I'm going to put myself out on a limb here and say it's wrong, because I've never seen it in a B-17. What they used, I don't know, but that's what we've got to go with. Okay, let's get ourselves operational, and after 2 updates, it is still, I'm afraid, a matter of battery on, alternator on. They're down there on that panel to the side. We still got to click away things like the yoke, which you'd think would be a fairly basic procedure. Here's the electrical panel here. So, as I say, when I do the batteries on, that's here. They're all there. And there's our generators for all 4. Inverted to normal. Most of these still aren't clickable. A lot of stuff still isn't clickable after these updates, so... And we can't even do things at the voltmeter. Though we can just about do that. Okay, we have got that. That's okay, I'll give them that. A lot of light positions and things aren't functional. So we're going to want our fuel... boosts. Those are our filters on and off. So unfortunately, it is in many cases quite simple here. Boost pumps are 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to start up like a Lancaster because I'm not quite sure of the number when it cuts to the B17 versus a Lanc, but we'll start with 3. And it should be. There we go, she's starting up. Okay, we'll go 4. I don't like the fact this is such a simplified system still. There we go. We'll go 1. No real zazz with the engines coming to life either. With this being a big radial, I expected a lot more with the sounds, if I'm honest. It has been a month, essentially, with this aircraft that we've had. And for the price we paid, I expected significantly more by this point. I think is the best way to phrase this. Because it wasn't exactly a cheap aircraft. It was £25, which is, you know, introductory price, whatever you want to call it. But I expected a lot more with this still, despite being early access. At the stage we were at, I wanted and expected to see more. And we still haven't got that yet. There's our fuel tanks levels there. As you can see here, feeder tanks, and it's showing the different filters and the cards. It switches between the versions. Okay, let's get ourselves moving, shall we? So, tail wheel and do our brake as well. There we go. Now I'm just going to use my 2 inside engines for this, or the exterior engines. So we'll go engine 4 up now to turn us around. We're taking off on 25 today. We've got 9 knots from 280, so it shouldn't be super terrible for us, but it should be enough interesting wind conditions as we cross San Diego. Okay. There's a BizJet taking off. I'm sure he's enjoying seeing the big old girl behind him. And one of the things I absolutely adore about Flight Sim versus wartime simulators like DCS or IL is you don't get this. You don't get to taxi a B-17 out like a restored Warbird flying today behind a BizJet on the taxiway, which is kind of fun. I'm still not using the default ATC because the default ATC still annoys me greatly. So we'll just wait for him to take off, then we'll go. Let's see if the wake turbulence in the sim actually is a factor. So I'll go straight after him and see what happens, because I have that enabled. Slow down, I don't want to run the poor guy over. But so far we've seen very little in the ways of actual additions to this aircraft. What we've seen has been patches and updates or changes behind the scenes to improve a potential future. Like, oh, slowing down. There he goes. There's a little fella here. He's getting chased down by a B-17. No, we've seen lots of patches and updates that are like preparatory things. Now, their own timeline did say like 2, 3, 4 updates before 1.0. So what I'm really wondering is when, after 1.0, do we start seeing some of these features added? Because these updates that were meant to be adding things like that aren't really happening yet. And these sounds still sound weak AF. That doesn't sound like a B-17. Even an idling one. It's just pottering, not droning. It doesn't even sound right. Now, some people said in the comments that this is not the same Microprose that made the original games. It's not. No, it's the name. It's changed hands multiple times. And it is just a name to an extent. I'm not sure what the relation is with the original developers, but it's not quite the same. Right, here goes our BizJet, and this is a test for us, so we're going to go straight behind him when he goes. Because I specifically want to see what happens here. Flaps down to first notch. Okay, we're going to hold brakes. Okay. That's kicking some engine noise in. Full power. Now, part of me wonders if he's just taxiing, because I don't think he's taking off somehow. So we might have to go over his head. Yeah, but he isn't going anywhere. Okay, that's Flight Sim being Flight Sim. So we're going to climb over him. Whoa, nose down. Yeah, there's a little buddy who just taxied down the active runway. Fantastic. Disappointing. But there you go. Make sure our nose is down when we need it. Flaps coming up. Let's pull the power back. And that is Mexico to our left. Okay, now they've made fixes and changes to our manifold pressure, so that should be reading true. We've got 35 inches there, and we're going to pull back on our RPM into the green. Okay, now we should be able to turn north and make for our destination. And once we get there, we'll start talking about features. I'm going to turn my head tracking off here so I can do that. Because unlike the Freeware B24 project, by the way, which I will be bringing you a video on fairly soon because I'm very excited about that. The Freeware B24 is coming on fast and strong. It's had major updates, and I am super excited to tell you about them, which I'll do in this video because I did not think this would be the day, but we are now competing for most functional, up-to-date, best, interesting World War II four-engine bomber, and Microprose is competing with the Freeware project from FSX. I'm not kidding. Yeah, a Freeware project is currently advancing faster than a payware product that people paid money for. That's kind of wild, don't you think? Let's get ourselves on course here. We're heading towards the city itself, so as we climb out here, we'll do a little bit of talking, shall we? Now, I best pull this up for you whilst I'm looking at it, because I think it's very relevant to talk about these things in the most honest way possible. I've got nothing against Microprose. I'm excited for this aircraft, and I've been looking forward to it for some time. And having paid my money as a customer, I paid for this myself. I am presently disappointed with progress. Take from that how you will, but I'm presently disappointed with the progress. Now, what we've had so far happen to this aircraft was the first update, which was update 1, Seattle, had the aft compartment LOD fixes. We had missing animations added, external LOD fixes, missing 3D objects for till, gear, and ball turret added, missing textures. The ALCAD details were adjusted. That's the cladding details, the red ones. Apparently that was adjusted. How? I don't know. File structure changes, flight model improvements, which they've done multiple times. And we've got fuel system changes, which is brought tanks to realistic quantities. 26, size, weight, positions, capabilities. 12 tanks per wing, 2 ferry bomb bay tanks. Now here's my weird suggestion. Why didn't this have the correct tanks on launch? Why did you not have the correct fuel tanks set up for the aircraft you were releasing? Even to early access. Why was that not something that was already done? That sounds weird to me. Engine changes, fuel flow, now allowing for realistic flight times. Again, this is a weird one. Why is this being changed? These feel like patches. Not updates, patches. These are patches. Added a couple of camera views. That's it. They added some camera view positions. And various electrical systems added to allow for future integration of physical systems in the cockpit. They added a comm radio, so you can use, technically, if you want to, you could currently use the ATC page up here to actually do things. I wonder if this is going to work. Formation. Ah, bet. Come on, let's see this. No, I'm not bothering with this right now. We're not bothering. We're having fun. Flying past the naval base there. The San Diego. Climb a little bit higher here above this cloud. We don't get too messy here. So that's our first update. That was Seattle. Now, funny enough, the next one is Long Beach, California. Oh, there's one. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay, that made it all worthwhile. Should be one over there too. Nice. There is something about seeing multiple heavy bombers in formation that really does look the bee's knees, doesn't it? There's an odd invisible one over there because the LOD is still messy in this. Oh, that looks great. That looks fantastic, boys and girls. Formation. Let's bring him into a tighter formation, shall we? It's just we can see them all. Oh, that's hard. That is exceedingly hard. There's something right about this, is there not? Can I change the models they're in? This is the airshow assistant. You can get it from the marketplace. I absolutely love this. Pity I can't get the same liveries on them all. Look at that. That is very hot. That is exceedingly hot. I adore that. Ah, the drone of B-17s. Look at that. This is what it should feel like flying a heavy bomber in Flight Sim. Imagine doing this for a raid over Germany or over Belgium or something. Seeing this sight in your eyes. Oh, yes. Perfect. Again, where was I? Update. Yes, the update. So whilst I check which direction we're going, we're still going the right way. We're flying up the coast. That just feels right. Look at it. That's right. So yes, update to Long Beach 0.9.2. Ah, can't get over it. Overhauled internal texture ambient occlusion baking. So they've added a lot more. Internal 3D mesh cleanup. Okay, fair. That's relevant to performance. Fixed internal LOD issues. Fair. Adjusted to center of gravity. Spawn and runway now has all 4 boost pumps on by default. Manifold pressure gauge is using correct unit. That is correct. That's hot still. Flat model improvements, aerodynamics updates, vertical speed gauge using correct unit, new empty bare metal livery, various external texture fixes and updates. So no additions still. That's the whole second update. It's been 2 weeks between each one. So we had release in September-ish, October maybe. And we had 2 weeks and we had the first update. Then we had 2 weeks and we had the second update. So it's been about a month. And so far there's been very much basically nothing added in terms of function and feature. So here was me expecting to have even something as simple as being able to open the cockpit windows, update the engine sounds, make them more fluid, more clickable controls in the cockpit, things that work to make this a usable aircraft, and still largely not. Still very little has been added. Now, I can still go into the little tablet here that I've added, and I can enable the crew visibility in the cockpit, that's it. That's all that does. I can't make them do anything still. But I can look at that and just think that is gorgeous. Still LOD issues, because I can still see through the plane, by the way. Look at that. That is absolutely breathtaking. That is gorgeous. Look at that. Whew. Stunning. Sorry, Airshow Assistant is the best thing ever if you like flying warbirds. Because when are you going to see this? Ever. And we're above the clouds right now, so make sure we're still on course here. We are basically on course. We're good. Shouldn't take us particularly long at all. So, main topic of this... Oh, right. Let me compare for you, because I think comparison here is going to be the very important portion of this discussion, because we've seen what it has. Now, the B24 Liberator, which is Flight Replica's original FSX model, I showed it in my best Freeware World War II aircraft video. Now, this aircraft has been updated to 2020 native, and it works in 24. It's been made compatible. It has had, I can tell you, 17 updates. Multiple people are working on it. Okay, sure, that's more than maybe these guys have got, but still. More clickable cockpit items. It has now a more clickable cockpit on a Freeware upgraded FSX aircraft, which, by the way, internally looks pretty good. It's not quite this perfect, but it does look pretty good. And the externals, more and more deliveries are being updated and they look pretty sharp. Witchcraft is stunning. But now, with the current version, we have the full boost pumps, you can operate things like the various lights, master battery switches, cowl flap systems work. We've got improved sounds in there, the boost pumps now work and function. The manifold pressures are all functioning properly. Everything's working correctly in there. The sunshade in the cockpit, because the B24 has windows up here, big ones, and you can pull the shade over it. Obviously, this, you can't click anything up there, actually. You can now pull those across, which is great. And version 17, obviously they've introduced a tablet down here, a tablet which will have other features and have maps and things. In fact, it has a map. But the tablet now lets you control putting chocks on it and off it. You can now have the gunners deploy, so the waist gunners can be deployed from their stowed to their actual active positioning. And you can now also deploy the ball turret, because the B24, the ball turret is retracted on takeoff and landing and it deploys during flight. You can do that now from the tablet. It is actually more functional than this, and it's free. Now, yes, they started with a finished product, technically a 3D model at that point, because it's come from basically zero cockpit functionality to having some. And yes, it's not being built with the same system's depth in the background as this aircraft. Now, yes, this is intended to have a greater depth. And I support that, I approve of it, I like it. That's the ocean down there, I think. And I think that's the coast, so we need to turn inland. God, that is... pie. Seeing that many B-17s flying in formation is just gorgeous. It's not quite a full stack, but you know what? I think it's gorgeous. Pity I can't change its livery. I probably can. I just don't know how, so I'll leave them here as Sentimental Journey, which I think they're in. In fact, they are Sentimental Journey. Yep. Which is one of the CAF ones, I believe. Let's make sure we pitch up a little bit here. We are nosing down a smidge. Pull the power out of Whisker. Let's get back out there and have another look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. That is gorgeous. I'll give it that. It looks great. It does look good. And the cloud is not ideal to have this happen, but there we go. We deal with it. So, like I said, where was I? I am marginally disappointed with this because, in terms of what we got, in fact, I'm going to get rid of these guys now because as much as this is stunning, they need to go away because I need to worry about landing. So, sorry, boys. You've got to go now, okay? Because our airport's coming up ahead of us. So I'm pulling my power out now as we're going to start descending. My conclusions on this flight are quite simple. I'm disappointed in what Microprose have delivered to us because, whilst I understand things take time, I would have preferred they come out with an aircraft that is to enter early access further along than it is now. I would have liked that aircraft to be more serviceable at its initial point of early access, because what they're selling to me is a unfinished product that I can enjoy now whilst they finish it. Now, I don't mind it lacking system depth, but I want it to at least have basic functionality. I want cockpit systems that are essentially basic switches or systems to operate. It could well be that they have intention to make these functions work tied into various other but deeper systems, and that's why they're not working currently. Fair enough. But you could have at least tied it to stock values in the sim in the meanwhile as a skin-deep version that we can enjoy whilst you work on the back end. Releasing a fully functional skin-deep Caronado light style aircraft that is surface level detail would have been absolutely adequate to most simmers, I think. Because I would have put up with it just fine. But it does feel as though what we've gotten... There's the airport there, I think. What we've gotten is really, really, really early. Too early, in fact. I think that is us there. I am not positive. It's by the river. That's not the river, unless that's the river. That's us right ahead. Okay. Yep, that's it right here. That is it. Okay, not that bit. So we come this side. Bring around. She does fly well, I will say that. The changes they made to the flight model, it does fly nicely. It takes off properly now with that same trike positioning, and her general behaviour in the air feels a lot more like the A2A1 did back in FSX. So I'll give it bonus points for that. It flies a lot better than it did. But that wasn't a big metric to really hit. This might be a tad small for us, but we're going to do our best here. Okay. Landing gear. Coming down. Flaps to first notch. I'm not going to say notch because it's not the first notch. Props full fine. Mixtures full rich. Landing gear is down. Let's do the proper B17 check here. Gears down. Now it should be hold the lever down and it should drop in. Alright, coming around for that landing approach here. Okay. Keep that nose level. Don't want to stall her too early here, so a little bit of power. Quite slow there, that needs to be a little quicker. In fact, a lot more power here. We've got a lot of drag going on. Runway in sight. 3/4 flaps. Runway in sight. Let's bring the nose round here. Get her set up properly. Okay, this is quite small, so this is a bit smaller than I was expecting. But that's okay. Okay, power's coming back. Engine's coming back to idle. Okay. This is quite small. Okay, we're bush flying the B17. This is happening. This is happening. Okay, good girl. She's definitely feeling heavier. She feels a lot more realistic to what I'm used to from the A2A, because I flew the A2A a great deal. I want it to be very clear. And I love that airplane so much. When I can go back to flying my checklist on the B17, I'll be very happy. Okay, speed is a little fast still, but we're okay. A little bit off centerline. Power's idle. Short final, coming in. Oh, this is tight. That's touchdown. Oh, we're off the runway. Stop, please. Okay, we're back on the runway. I think there's no tire touchdown sounds. Oh, we're in the air. Pulling flaps in, nose down. Don't want to stall here. This would be bad. We're right at the low speed angle. I don't want to see an intersection like that. Oh my god. Come on, pig. Let's go. Pull me gear. There's no... That's the thing. How have we not even got touchdown sounds on the engine, on the gear? That is wild. Like, the sounds are really, really minimal. Come on. Good girl. Bring nose down. That's it. It is on the borderline a little bit short, and we were completely off-center with that one. It wasn't going to work, so we'll come around one last time, we'll put her in, and we should be good. So that should be fine. Oof. A little steeper approach, I think, a little bit less speed. So we'll gain a little bit of altitude here. Speed is good here. Okay, outbound a little bit more. There we go. Okay, gear back down. Flaps to 1/2. Power increase to compensate. Okay, that's a good amount of altitude and downwind we want. So we'll extend a little bit, level her off here. We'll hold some speed. We should be okay. The flying is a lot more instinctive, I will say that. Its behaviour is a lot better. Whilst I'm disappointed with the speed of updates and the quality of updates, what they have so far isn't bad. I just expect more from a paid product. I expect significantly more from a paid product. The updates haven't brought anything new, and it would be a good idea for them to think about putting at least additional features we can use as customers into those updates to sweeten the package a little bit, because a lot of back-end stuff that is setting the stage for future functions isn't exactly pleasing your customer. And when this is a paid project, that isn't going to technically fly particularly well. Full flaps. Okay. Okay, piggy. Come on, let's go to the very short market, shall we? We're going to get asymmetrical here. Alright, let's get a little bit of cross controls in. There we go, Piggy. That's a good girl. Down we go. Down we go. Down we go. That's a good girl. That's it. Come on. You big pig. Let's go. Come on. Oh, that rudder's not very effective. Okay, brakes on. Stop, please. Dancing the pedals here a little bit to get it to slow down. Oh, okay. That was a very aggressive landing for a B17. And that taxiway is a bit small. I think this is not really meant for us, this airport. I'll include the links to these airports in the description afterwards. But I'm trying to be objective and fair with a review like this, because, not a review, an update. Because I am disappointed, because I expect more, especially because I paid actual cash money. When a freeware project is advancing at a significantly faster pace, whilst admittedly doing different things and with different end objectives, it is a little disappointing for me, the user. Especially given one I paid for and one I didn't. Okay, there we go, and pop that in there. Is it worth putting money down for? Not yet. If you want an aircraft you can enjoy flying in the meanwhile, this isn't it. It's not there yet. It flies, but it's not even a basic stock aircraft depth, which is saying something. It's pretty and it has a flight model. That's about all I can tell you. So if you want it, I'd wait. And if you want something you can actually really enjoy buzzing around in right now, and it's arguably somehow more usable, I'll also link the B24. I'm excited to see what this is like when it's finished. And if the next update or future updates do bring a lot more into this aircraft, I'll be the first to say I'm excited and I think they've done a great job. I think the approach to this has perhaps been backward. I think it's not been the best timing, and I think it was too soon. Hopefully you see what I've said here today is objective. I'm not trying to cause drama or be salty, but I wanted to share my opinion because I was more excited for this than you can possibly imagine, and it's really not met it yet. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!